Hello, hello, my beautiful souls. Welcome to the intuitive card reading for, the week of July 13th through 19th. You guys know what to do. Please like this video. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. Please share this video with anybody that needs to hear the energies and the influences of the week. What else? Comments down below. I really appreciate them. I'm using 3 decks. I think last time I used 4, but I'm down back down to 3. Shuffled and ready to go, and in an order that feels intuitively aligned. I think that's it. Let's jump right into it, you guys. What do we need this week? We need to co-create. Okay, like this card. So co-create is about, so we can either look at it like the bigger picture of co-creating with the universe, so telling the universe what we want, kind of like manifestation. We have to work with the universe to get what we want, so be clear about your intentions. Think about what you actually want. That's what you need to do. Maybe start thinking about that. But also could be partnership work. So maybe we need to partner with somebody. Maybe you have a business and you've been thinking about partnering with somebody. Maybe even thinking about getting into a relationship. Could be more on a personal level, co-creating. Maybe you're thinking of having a child with somebody that you're with or something like that. So you're co-creating a life, you know. Yeah, it just means like there's this collaborative energy that we really need. So we need to collaborate with somebody in some way, somebody or the universe. This doesn't surprise me. I know we're moving more towards, the people yearn for community, but this is kind of, it feels like, maybe a group, but it feels a little bit more like one-on-one work. But yeah, we need to partner with somebody for something. Action needed, we have stars navigation. Okay, so this just kind of piggybacks on what I was just saying. So this is saying we have to, action needed, take action on our navigation. So where are we going? Okay, so this kind of coincides with, all right, talking to the universe about what we actually want, trying to manifest what we actually need. This is about saying, okay, now you have to map it out. You need to figure out where you're going, where you're headed next, that kind of thing. So a lot of future focus energy, which I like. You know why I like it? I say this a lot. So sorry if I repeat myself, but future focus energy means that some of us are getting out of survival mode, right? We're not just thinking about other things. We're not trying to, and there's nothing wrong with being present. Obviously, like we get a lot of messages around that as well. But this is awesome that we get to, things are stable enough, things are secure enough where we can actually think about what's going to happen next. And I like that. Hopefully you guys like that too. So yeah, figure out where you're going next. What's your next move? So I like that. We're like planning for the future. And the universe is more than willing to help. I'll tell you that. All right, issue, upside down. Shadow assumes that the rescue will be reciprocated, keeps the rescue when needed. Okay, we have rescuer in the shadow. All right, so there's some issues with somebody that needs rescuing, or we're trying to rescue somebody. Nothing wrong with helping people. Nothing wrong with supporting people. Nothing wrong with assisting people. But if you're, trying to rescue somebody by drowning yourself or by self-abandoning, this is not good. So there's an issue here this week with that. So detach. I know we had that word detach last week. But yeah, stop trying to save somebody maybe that doesn't want to be saved. Stop trying to interrupt their path, that kind of thing. So yeah, there's got to be some kind of level of detachment here for sure. All right, what else are we having issues with? What's another challenge? A leg up. Okay, I like this card, not exactly in this placement here, but a leg up is advantageous energy. You've heard me say that before. It means that we have some kind of privilege. We have some kind of leg up to something. We have an advantage towards something. So it's basically in the challenge. So we do not have that. So we do not have a privilege. We do not have an in. We do not have a connection. We do not have somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. You know what I mean? So it feels like say if you want to break into an industry that you don't know anybody that works in it, a very tough industry. Maybe you want to get into acting or something. You don't know anybody that is into it. And that's where you want to go, right? You're thinking about where you want to go next. You don't have a leg up, you don't have an advantage, you don't have any privilege, being like nepotism, like somebody that's in it, or like your parents in it or something like that, So it's challenging. So you're really starting from scratch, no connections, no nothing. Okay, I gave an example for work, but could be anything. So any kind of where you kind of have to start from scratch without any privileges at all, or any there's so many different things. Maybe you want to go out on your own, but you don't have, maybe you want to live on your own for once, and you don't have, maybe your parents passed many moons ago, and you don't have that advantage of like your parent putting down your down payment, like maybe some of your friends or something like that. I don't know anybody like that, by the way, but I've heard of it. Okay, so it is a privilege to have good family members, family members that are financially well off, things like that. So yeah, there's some kind of challenge there, but it's nothing that we can't get through. Okay, so you just might have to work a little extra harder. But you can do it. You can break into that industry. You can live on your own. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. I know you guys can. I know you guys. You guys are resilient AF. All right, what's changing? A release. Okay, so you're releasing something. I like this. So letting go of something. All right. Maybe it has something to do with the rescuer, maybe not, but they could be intertwined. But yeah, you release toxic traits. You release a person. You release a job. You release a habit. You release something that needs to be released. This could also be that you get something off your chest, like, okay, so it's a volcano, right? There's a volcano on there, so basically the lava's got to come out, like lava's coming out, so something's coming out, right? So you're releasing something. Maybe you released your new album. Maybe you are a musician. I don't know, you're releasing something to the public. You are sharing something publicly. Letting go, sharing something publicly, something along those lines is changing this week. And I see it as nothing but positive. This could also be like getting something off your chest that maybe you've wanted to get off your chest for a long time. We've gotten messages like that in the past leading up to this about maybe not exactly the right time to say something. This feels like we're at least getting closer to the time to say something. So yeah, getting something off your chest, spewing it out like lava. So I think that's interesting to get, especially because we're still Mercury retrograde. Yeah, it's still Mercury retrograde. So usually sometimes, the communication isn't great, but that's what Spirit is saying here, so we're going with it. Use your own intuition and discernment, though, okay? You guys know that. All right, focus, damsel. Understanding the nature of healthy romance inspires you to rely on yourself. Okay, so yeah, this is about being more, an archetype of being more independent, focusing on you, focusing on what you want. Guys, another card telling us to focus on what we want, where we're going next, etc. How do we get it? That kind of thing. So yeah, being dependent on yourself, but also allow, the damsel also is like you accept help, but you don't need help kind of situation. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. You can. You don't need assistance, but you will allow assistance, if that makes sense. The way that I'm like thinking about it is there's a difference of like needing a partner and wanting a partner, right? So it's kind of like that's the difference. Like it's okay to want, you want somebody just because you want them to be around for their company, because you love them, all those really sweet, genuine things, instead of you need them for financial dependency, things like that. So, and by the way, nothing wrong with, this is light and shadow, okay? These are just the light and shadow. This isn't right or wrong. So this is basically saying, though, because it's in the light, saying that we are more in the light of the damsel archetype, and saying focus on that. So focus on how you can get more that way, get more independent, get more self-assured, get more self-reliant, like that kind of thing. Reflect on time to go. Okay. So this was a little foreshadowing up there, the release, letting something go. So this says time to go. What needs to go? So it's under reflect. So yeah, guys, we're thinking about what we need to let go of, who we need to let go of, habits we need to let go of, organizations, the ways we communicate, a million things that we can be letting go. A job, maybe an old archetype of ourselves, maybe an old version of ourselves. Okay, it could be something big. It definitely could be. So reflecting on what really needs to go, what has changed within you that doesn't necessarily fit with the things in your life anymore. Whatever doesn't align, you got to think about letting go. And by the way, or time to leave the situation. This doesn't necessarily mean, it just might mean that it might look differently, right? If you feel like you're growing from somebody, it doesn't mean you have to like cut them out of your life completely. It just means maybe you won't be as close. Things are changing. You don't have as much in common anymore. You've kind of grown from each other. That's all right, but think about that and reflect on that is what Spirit is asking. But yeah, things are definitely changing, and things are not going to be the same going forward is basically what it's saying here. Responsibilities, we have wilderness untamed. All right, so wild energy. So nobody can tame you. Nobody can put you in a cage. So your responsibilities are being wild. It's a weird one to have under responsibilities, because responsibility is kind of the opposite. It's kind of like linked to, being structured, getting things done, like that kind of thing, being on a schedule, being responsible, obviously. But this is basically saying it's your responsibility to maybe not be so responsible. All right. So does that mean, missing appointments, canceling things last minute? No, but, be a little bit more free is what Spirit is asking you to be. Maybe be a little bit more spontaneous, maybe be a little bit more, I use the word wild. It's in wilderness, it's in the word wilderness, but a little bit untamed, a little bit off the cuff. It will do you well. Something tells me some of y'all have been a little uptight. That's possibly why this is coming through. So yeah, fit it in, guys, fit it in. Spirit says so. Spirit says so. All right, money and finances. We have vampire in the shadow, depleting others for your psychic survival, chronic complaining, and codependency. Okay, so I find it very interesting. We have 3 archetypes that really focus on independent versus codependent kind of things. Rescuer, damsel, vampire. Okay, so definitely Spirit is pushing you to be a little bit more independent. But okay, so let me tell you what it means for money, finances, and career. So it's in the shadow. So this tells me that you are relying on something heavily here in money, finances, and career. So you might be let me put it down. You might be relying on somebody else. You might be like there might be a stream of income that you are holding on to desperately. And again, just because these things are in the shadow does not equal bad. Okay, shadow just means hidden. Okay, that's all. It's still a part of you, but it's just basically saying like there's something that you're dependent on, that you're holding on to for survival, money, finances, and career. And honestly, it's not crazy that it's here in this spot, because I would probably say like there's 95%, well, I don't know, I'm throwing out percentages, but a large percentage, I would say, of people that work for a job they don't like because they're dependent on the income. Like, that doesn't make you bad. That's most people do that. Is it the greatest situation? No, but it is a pretty typical situation. Okay, so we can't always be doing things we love. Life happens. Maybe we have a child and we have to work a job that we hate. Maybe we have chronic illness and we have to, any way we can make money, we have to do it, like that kind of thing. So it's, again, no shaming here. It's just basically saying like, this is what's happening. And honestly, it's coming through, I think, and this is how I'm interpreting it, is because this is starting to bug us. It is starting to bug us a little bit that we have this job for this, that we're like very attached to it for survival. However, I will say, it coming out in this reading when those first 2 cards were about really figuring out what you want and where you want to go next, it's not specific to career, but since we got this, it could definitely be related. Okay, it could definitely be related. It doesn't have to be specifically to that, but like I said, it could be related. Maybe money investor finding out like, oh God, I'm just doing this for the money and I don't even like it anymore. That kind of vibe. That's what I'm getting here. Okay. Or, maybe you are relying on your boyfriend to pay your bills or something, and you want to break up with your boyfriend or something, or I don't know, there's something here where you're depending on something for money, for survival, security, and it's you don't want to do it anymore. You don't want to rely on it anymore. Maybe you're on unemployment for a really long time and you just don't want to do it anymore. Again, nothing wrong with you paid into that, but maybe you just don't want to do it anymore. Okay, so I definitely feel a frustration coming from here. But yeah, there definitely seems to be some kind of, like, you're getting fed up with it, basically. Some kind of depending on something, and it's just not working anymore for you. So yeah. So I see it as a good thing because of how strong that this reading has started out with those cards up there. Okay, so it's basically saying you don't like what you're doing now. It's time to think about what to do going forward. So it gives us a solution, right? We're also thinking about a solution here. All right, surprise, chaos, and conflict. Okay, not the greatest one to get here, but we'll take it. So a surprise, conflict, or some kind of chaotic thing. So I don't know. Could be anything. Maybe something really bizarre happens to you this week and makes things chaotic. I'm getting like unbelievable story, weird happenstances, a surprise conflict, maybe with somebody that you weren't expecting to have conflict with. Maybe you like your son's teacher so much and you have like a surprise conflict with them this week or something. Nothing that I feel like you can't, move past eventually. It doesn't feel like a huge blow up or something, but something becomes more chaotic than you'd like it to be, more conflicting than you'd like it to be. Maybe maybe you weekly go somewhere with your kids and it's very smooth, and then you have an issue this week with something. It almost feels like something is routine, and all of a sudden one day it's just not normal. Like you go, like maybe every night you go to the same ice cream place, get ice cream, and that's it. Maybe something like crazy happens. Hopefully not dangerous, but like something crazy, Yeah, so just watch out for that, okay? Okay, friends, we have Cedar Tree Wisdom. Okay, so giving your friends wisdom, they giving wisdom to you, being very wise, giving you good advice, you're giving good advice to them. Could be family as well. Yeah, there's not actually too much I can say about this, but yeah, it feels very... if you need advice, go to a friend. They're definitely there for you, and you'll be dishing out your best advice as well to them. All right, romantic connection. We have prostitute in the shadow. Places material considerations and security above self-empowerment. Okay. This is kind of like... It's an interesting one to get on a romantic connection, because basically it's saying you're almost transactional with something. So maybe you're not in the greatest relationship, but this person maybe gives you financial security or something, and you stay within the relationship. I mean, that's like pretty much I know I always tell you guys not to focus super on the actual name of the archetype, but this one is almost not literal, but it did come up in romantic connection, so it's an interesting one to have here. But you're kind of like you're sacrificing something to, like, it's a very very transactional thing. Here's the other thing, guys. Again, shadow isn't bad. If you want a transactional relationship, there is nothing wrong with that. Okay, I'm saying it now. As long as people, like for me, it just feels like as long as people are aware. Using people for their money, for example, not so great. But if you agree on it, there's lots of relationships out there, lots of marriages out there that actually work this way. Okay, so, however, it came up for a reason, so I'm going to say maybe it's not working for people anymore. Maybe you're feeling a certain type of way about it. The same way that the vampire in the shadow came up in money, finances, career. Maybe you're feeling a certain way about it. Maybe it becomes conscious to you. Maybe it becomes aware to you that you're just not into it anymore. Okay, so that's this. So just be careful of the transactional stuff. Be honest with yourself is maybe more of what I want to say with this. Guys, so many messages weaved in here about being dependent on something or someone, or, you know, whatever is going on, and Spirit asking us to be a little bit more independent or detached. Interesting stuff. But yeah, for sure. Yeah, just think about that for sure. My single people, maybe you'll be dating and going and finding these relationships this week. Again, could be positive, could be a negative, but you know, maybe that's what you're looking for, you know? So if that's what you're looking for, this is a good week. This is a good week. Okay, important, observer. Okay, so you're observing things. So definitely, okay, this is a card saying like you're observing things as far as like another word for this is kind of like self-awareness. Like you're seeing things, and that's also what I'm getting to, is especially with the prostitute and the vampire. Just like you're becoming aware of things and how they are, and maybe you don't like it anymore. Okay, so there's definitely a level of self-awareness that we're having this week, and it's important that we look at that. Look at the things in our life with like another lens, like with a closer lens, with a magnifying glass. That's maybe a better way to say that. Health and wellness, come on, baby. Honeybee, community. Okay, I love this. So this is definitely a good week to be in community as far as your health and wellness goes. This is saying if you're thinking about going to a wellness event, go to one. Like if you've been on the fence, this is a sign to say, yeah, go. This is also, you know, maybe group fitness classes. Maybe you've been thinking about it. This is a great week to start that. Maybe you've been thinking about group therapy. Great week to start that. Maybe even look for a spiritual community if you're on that spiritual journey. Great week for you to do that. Definitely surround yourself with community. Yeah, I mean, I see it as like a really positive thing. The more you're in community, the better your health is. If it, you know, maybe you haven't been working out and a group class is going to kind of get you out, you know, get you working out. So yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's a good one for there. All right, overall outcome, we have Goddess. Ooh, okay, that's cool. So the feminine expressed through wisdom, nature, life force, and sensuality. Okay, so the god or the goddess, our inner goddess, attributes like the card says. Life force to me is like purpose, what makes you feel alive. Sensuality is more like what brings you pleasure, what excites you, like that kind of thing. So it's saying by the end of the week, this part of yourself is going to be expressed. Your feminine side is going to be expressed in some way. Again, could be like a million different things. And by the way, guys, everybody has a feminine and a masculine. Okay, just to remind you guys, some more of your feminine side, your more soft side is going to come out on the weekend, and that's, I think, a positive thing. Definitely getting positivity here. Yeah, inner goddess is coming out, so I like that. Okay, guys, I like this. So some similar themes going on for different cards, but similar energies coming off of them, similar themes. So I like it. I see nothing that I feel like would be a red flag, really. Yeah, maybe, obviously issues and challenges are always issues and challenges, obstacles in their own way. Stop, just be mindful of stop, try to stop rescuing people, interfering with something that doesn't, belong, that doesn't involve you. And then, you trying to get into something, get into an industry, break into something, do something on your own, and you don't have any connections or anything like that. So I could see frustration definitely coming from that as well. But you can do it. Like I said, you can do it. I know you guys can. So that's, so I wouldn't even really, I don't really see that as a red flag, but yeah. All right, guys, have a wonderful week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.